19 years, 10 months, and 23 days after the U.S. mission in Afghanistan began, Major General Chris Donahue, commander of the 82nd Airborne Division, was the last American soldier to leave Afghan soil shortly before midnight in Kabul on Monday.
Tonight's withdrawal signifies both the end of the military component of the evacuation, but also the end of the nearly 20-year mission that began in Afghanistan shortly after September 11, 2001.
A mission that was not cheap.
The cost was 2,461 U.S. service members and civilians killed, and more than 20,000 who were injured.
By early Tuesday morning, the Taliban's Islamic fighters, along with their top leaders, were strolling the tarmac of Kabul's airport in full control and declaring that the myth of American invincibility had been busted in Afghanistan.
We have achieved our independence, and we were able to force the Americans to leave after 20 years of jihad and sacrifice.
Over 18 days, the U.S. military airlifted about 123,000 civilians from the airport, including 6,000 Americans, in the largest non-combatant evacuation in U.S. Army history. Still, U.S. citizens who wanted to get out are still trapped inside, along with thousands of Afghan partners.
There are still a small number of Americans, under 200 and likely closer to 100, who remain in Afghanistan and want to leave.
But just 2 weeks ago, in an interview with ABC News' George Stephanopoulos, the president promised to stay until every American, including Afghan allies and their families, were out.
If there's American citizens left, we're going to stay till we get them all out.
Now, with U.S. forces out, the question is, will Afghanistan become a terrorist safe haven again? The Taliban says it will not allow the country to be a launching pad for terror attacks, but many experts believe their takeover is a boost for terror groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS.
And unfortunately, going to see a massive boost in terror recruitment and radicalization based on the belief that jihadists in Afghanistan first defeated the Soviet Union, and now they defeated the United States.
And the ramifications are already reverberating, especially for Afghanistan's religious minority groups. At a safe house in Kabul, Jayuddin, not his real name, has been in hiding along with 12 other Afghans since the Taliban seized control of the city nearly 3 weeks ago.
One of us is always awake during the night, always walking around and praying. So if the Taliban should come and knock on our door, we should alert everyone.
In an exclusive interview with CBN News, Jayuddin and the others, who are part of Afghanistan's very small Christian community, told us they have no passports, no U.S. government-issued exit papers, and right now see their hopes of escape diminish.
We had many plans for preaching the gospel with other brothers and sisters, but then the Taliban took control so quickly. It happened so fast.
And now they've been marked by the Taliban.
Every day I receive a phone call from a private number, and the person warns me that if he sees me again, he will behead me.
While Jayuddin says he's not afraid of dying, he's asking the world to pray for his country.
We are praying for each other that the Lord would put his angels around our house for our protection and safety.
President Biden is expected to address the nation this afternoon following today's final pullout from Afghanistan. George Thomas, CBN News.
Well, CBN contributor Chuck Holton joins us now. He's been covering Afghanistan for 2 decades and has vast military experience himself. Chuck, the big concern, or one of the big concerns, is Afghanistan becoming a terror base. So can you tell us about some of these other Islamic groups in the country and their maybe complicated relationship with the Taliban?
Well, Andrew, I wouldn't say that any of these groups differ very dramatically in their worldview. Their only differences are in how to work out their worldview, which certainly considers the United States to be the enemy. So whether you're talking about ISIS-K, Khorasan, whether you're talking about there are Taliban units or groups of Taliban-like fighters in Tajikistan, in Pakistan, in the Waziristan, in Uzbekistan, in the whole region. And there are Al-Qaeda, there are the Haqqani network, there are lots of different groups that are all going to fight each other. And there's a lot more weapons and materiel over there to do the killing. As we always see, though, the people who suffer the most from all of that fighting are the civilians.
Well, Chuck, we've heard about the Pineapple Express, retired special forces who launched their own mission to get Afghan special forces and their families out of that country. We know there are still Americans that are trapped in Afghanistan. Do you know if there are any private efforts to get them home safely?
Yes, there are. Now, I'm intimately aware of some of the efforts. There are actually quite a few. And because Afghanistan is very disjointed, it's not that it's impossible to get in there. As a matter of fact, some of these groups are even working with the Taliban because the Taliban is trying to gain legitimacy. One of the things that we have just enabled is not just a Taliban regime, which is exactly what we went in there to fight 20 years ago, but we've enabled China, we've enabled Russia, we've enabled Iran, and we've enabled Pakistan to grow their influence in that region. And that's the bigger problem. Now, as for these private groups that are trying to get people out, yes, there are quite a few, and they are working, some of them together, some of them separately, to try to fly people out, to try to get people out by land. But it is a real challenge in a country that is now controlled by the Taliban.
Well, Chuck, with no more boots on the ground, of course, now we're hearing about this, quote, over-the-horizon capability to hit terrorist targets. What is that for people who don't know, and is it really enough?
That's just the ability to throw bombs at Afghanistan at random. Now, we have lots of signals intelligence capabilities. That is the ability to suck up cell phone calls and satellite phone calls and that sort of thing. We have the ability to fly drones over there and watch what's going on, but we don't have the on-the-ground capability anymore. And just think, I mean, we had talked about, people like to say forever war. Well, this was not a forever war. We were down to like 2,500 troops in Afghanistan, and we hadn't seen a casualty in a year and a half. The presence that we had in Afghanistan up until a few weeks ago was keeping a lid on all of this. Now we're going to see it explode into violence. That violence is going to spread, and you mark my words, we're going to see something similar happen by the end of this year in Iraq as the last American troops pull out of that country, because we've encouraged these jihadis now to get more violent, and that's what we're going to see.
All right, Chuck, it's a sobering message, but we thank you, of course, for joining us and appreciate your perspective. And
sure.
We want to remind you, if you want to see more of Chuck's reporting or more from the CBN News team, download the CBN News Channel app today.
Hello, I'm Gordon Robertson. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more encouraging videos like this one. Welcome to the 700 Club Interactive family, and God bless you.